about this week that I left CNN. I want you to know this, though. They did pay for the privilege.
Yeah.
I was asked, Joyce, if I would consider going back to CNN recently. I said, no, I wouldn't feel right about that. Because they paid a lot of money for me to put them in my rearview mirror. And I want to be damn sure they get their money's worth.
We have a question from Arthur in Palm Beach County. He wants to know if you think manufacturing will ever be brought back to the U.S.
If you believe in this country, you must not only believe it, but make it so. This nation cannot exist, achieve its destiny, and provide the prosperity that every generation of Americans deserve without the ability to be self-reliant and independent in its manufacturing base. I'm pleased to tell you that Jeffrey Amell, the CEO of General Electric, was talking to a shareholders meeting, I think it was about 3 years ago now. And he was saying he was doing a terrific, maybe 4 years ago now. He was talking about how he was doing a great job in the minds of everyone, but apparently Lou Dobbs. And then I'm pleased to tell you that upon the election of President Obama, Mr. Amell started talking about the importance of balanced trade. It's doubling exports and restoring our manufacturing base. I love conversion. We need more CEOs to convert. We need more unions to convert. I said more unions to convert, not more unions. We need our political leadership to understand that we've got to double again exports. And the president on this last trip in Mumbai declared that he is seeking, and his administration is seeking, reciprocal relationships in trade, including with India. I have been calling since the publication of a book called Exporting America in 2004 for mutual, balanced, reciprocal trade. It is the trade policy of each of our principal trading partners with whom we have deficit upon deficit. We simply can no longer afford to behave as if our wealth is endless and that there are consequences to bad public policy choices.
All right. Adam in Coral Springs would like to know if you think the EU will bail out Ireland, and if so, how will that affect us?
Well, I think the European Union has literally not much choice, nor does Ireland. We're looking at the prospect further, Portugal, the degree to which we actually know what the debt is of Greece, now estimated to be 50% higher than what had been assumed, and in jeopardy of outright default. Sovereign debt is crushing the markets right now. And that was an example today, that along with rising interest rates in China. And also great suspicion about the certainty, the likely certainty of taxes in this country, and an absence of real positive leadership. So I think that they will have to. I think Ireland has very little choice here for the stability of world markets, not only Europe's.
Very well. Dennis in Boca Raton. Do you think that immigration will be taken up in the upcoming session? And if so, what do you think they're going to try?
What are they going to try?
Well, Senator Harry Reid has said that he is going to push the DREAM Act forward. And in a lame duck session. I frankly do not understand what the Democratic Party is doing here. The American people in poll after poll said, actually, we'll just go to one question that's been polled extensively across the country, and that is 60% support for the Arizona anti-illegal immigration law. If Harry Reid and this president and Nancy Pelosi is a lame Speaker of the House. Proceed. Is a lame duck Speaker of the House. If they were to proceed, I think that the political consequences, even they understand they would be substantial. If they thought the rout on November 2nd was significant, they can't even imagine what would be coming in November of 2012. So I fully suspect that he will try it.
Well, and that leads to Jim from Davies' question. Do you think that President Barack Hussein Obama will be re-elected in 2012? And if so, why?
Not by this crowd. Joyce, the truth is, like everyone here, I don't know. But I will say if the man does not, there are those who maintain he's the smartest president in history. Those are the same people who think he's the most terrific presidential orator they've ever heard, in many cases. I would say to you that if he is bright enough, as bright as they say he is, he will adapt to what happened on November 2nd. He will understand that he's returning to a different United States. In its politics, in its economics, in what we will put up with and what we will not. And I want to say to you, the Tea Party movement in this country, I want to be very clear about this. You know, it was about a year and a half ago that Nancy Pelosi was saying that the Tea Party movement was AstroTurf. Yeah. I want to tell you what's AstroTurf, okay? Here's AstroTurf. AstroTurf are all of the George Soros-funded nonprofits. That's AstroTurf. And all of the advocacy organizations who purport to represent, but simply follow the orders like lapdogs of their wealthy contributors, those are AstroTurf. The Tea Party movement is for real, and the evidence can be counted in the ballot boxes across the country. And it will be an even more powerful movement in 2012. Given keynotes at tea parties, and I've been
Gotta be careful with that.
well, let me tell you, as you and I have discussed, at some point, who knows, maybe it's here tonight. I will say something stupid because when you talk as much as I do, you're bound to. But the fact is, the Tea Party movement is disparate, unrelated organizations across the country. And I truly believe we're watching the beginning of something truly beautiful in this country. As to whether Barack Obama gets elected or not, if he's bright enough to change his policies and change his direction and abandon what has been to this point an agenda for a hard left turn for this nation, then he might have an opportunity. Because if the Republicans, if they continue to do business as they have, I wouldn't want to predict the outcome because, frankly, this is too important an election coming up in 2012 to permit the Republican Party, or for that matter, in my judgment, the Democratic Party, to pretend it's business as usual. Let's find great candidates, let's support them and move them forward, and I'm talking about from the local level through to the Oval Office itself.
Which lends itself particularly to this follow-up question from Linda in Deerfield Beach. Since you are a Tea Party supporter, do you think this movement will materialize into a legitimate third party?
That I don't know. I'm going to tell you, part of me says I hope not. I think there's great energy, great participation across the country, as I said. I love the raw power of the people expressed in its support for candidates of either the Republican or Democratic Party or independent. There's something about me I would lament in moving from a movement to a party with one candidate. If these damn fools in both parties try the same junk that they pulled for the last 20 years, then hell yes.
All right, Jim from Davie, Florida wants to know, why do you think the National Organization for Women does not stand up for women's rights in Islamic countries?
Yeah.
You know, you tell me this. If you can answer this for me, then I'll answer that one. $1 trillion spent in Iraq and Afghanistan. We have young men and women deployed across the borders of those two countries. And our borders remain wide open. Help me out with that. If you can, and I'm not dodging the question. I'm just saying there are so many of these imponderables that it just doesn't end. We haven't got time tonight. For example, why do we have tens of thousands of our troops in South Korea, in Germany, Italy, in Japan? Why? When we are facing the debt issues that we are, the deficit issues we are, when we're facing a rapidly changing geopolitical world in which our very national sovereignty is threatened, but most critically and urgently here at home. Why are we permitting TSA agents to body search a nun in a habit? Instead of securing borders, securing our entry ports, why are we permitting 95% of the cargo entering this country to come in uninspected? While we hear ponderous public officials in this administration and the previous talk about how secure we are and how we've got to have a bigger budget and how 22 agencies combined into the Department of Homeland Security and $40 billion just isn't enough. Why do we have to take a 70-year-old grandmother in a wheelchair with 2 hip replacements and have her subjected to an quote-unquote enhanced tap-down rather than have a database which has cataloged all our travels, our individual identities, which are, by the way, well known to the government, to the airlines, and instead of doing that job, we are asked to, and this is their word, not mine, submit to full body scans and enhanced pat-downs. Folks, at what point do the American people say, this is about my dignity, this is about my freedom, and it's about my country? And the other part is, I frankly don't much care what Now says or doesn't say.
Yeah, they've become rather irrelevant. How influential do you expect women to be in the 2012 election from Kathleen in Lake Worth? And I think she's referring to women candidates versus the women voters.
Well, I think they're going to play a very large role. I mean, right now we're seeing more women candidates move forward. You know, the most threatening, apparently, and the most troubling candidate is former Governor Sarah Palin. She is attacked from every corner. I've never seen anything like it. Here's a woman who lives her philosophy, her religion, her principles, her political values, and somehow is reviled by the national media. Forget the